So I hope everyone had a good holiday season. It is now January 3rd, start of a new year. So all of that shitty trading and bad decisions and just general fuckery of the last year, it's all in the past. It's a new year, new you, time to get your shit together, time to finally make it, time to make some money. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of things here. I'll give a real quick shout out to Prime XBT. As you guys know, I've been partnered with Prime again, so very happy to be back over using their exchange. It's a great exchange, good liquidity, good UI. You can trade other assets than crypto with crypto collateral. You can trade gold, silver, Forex. Solid exchange. They've been good to me, so I'm happy to be working with them again. And right now, if you use the link in the description, code Mayne50, MAYNE 50, you get 25% off your trading fees, which is pretty awesome. So shout out to the Prime team. Let's get into it, guys. We'll start looking at Bitcoin here and then we'll move into Ethereum. So looking at Bitcoin, we're just ranging. We've been ranging for basically a month straight, right? It's the 3rd of January. The last dump happened a month ago. We are just ranging. We are at the range lows here. If you guys remember, we longed down here. The idea was to close up towards 53. We didn't end up coming up that high. We had that little SFP above the range high and we've now sold back off to the range low. So what I'm seeing on Twitter is a little bit of a mixed bag in terms of sentiment from people. I think there's a little bit of indecision in terms of what people think is next for Bitcoin. Right now, my non-financial advice would be not even to really focus on Bitcoin that much. It's going sideways. We've been having a lot of coins that have been performing extremely well, outperforming Bitcoin significantly, making new all-time highs, being in clear uptrends, going on double-digit percentage rips to the upside, while Bitcoin's effectively done nothing for over a month. It's just gone sideways. Obviously, there was two really clear trades in this range. When we longed the lows, and then if you would have shorted near the highs, back to the lows, right? Trade one, trade two. Those are the two main trades that have occurred in the last week. If you're trading on, the 4-hour, the 12-hour time frame. Obviously, on the lower time frame, there's going to be, longs and shorts along the way, but I'm a bit more of a high time frame trader. So for me, Bitcoin's been kind of boring, to be honest with you. We are at the range lows. So as usual, if we're going to look for longs, this is where I want to focus on, right? I want to focus on the range lows, price being at a discount. I've seen a few people talk about kind of, your 3-tap kind of scenario here. So we've got our support, right? We've got our 1-tap, 2-tap, 3-tap, right? And then we're going to go. I've seen people compare this to here. I've seen people compare this to here. I've seen them compare it to, here. I do see some similarities in terms of this price action. You could argue that, you have your support here, trend line break, and then one more run at the low and then a go. And you kind of have a similar thing here. If this is going to play out to be kind of like this fractal, right? That would kind of say, okay, well, maybe we have one more run of the lows here. I mean, I do see the similarities here, but rather than try and say, okay, well, this kind of looks like that, so I'm going to do this, I'm just going to focus on what's in front of us. What is the chart telling us? So we're at the range lows. So I'm not really interested in shorting here. I don't like shorting at the range lows, but the range lows can give out and we can trade much lower. So if we have some sort of clean break below the range lows here, break in market structure, and then we come up and we reject from the range lows again, like we do something like this, and then back below the range lows, absolutely, now I'm interested in shorting. But for now, we're trading at the range lows. We're trading at the yearly open as well. The yearly open is 46,209 on this exchange. So it's basically right where the range low is, but we're just so close to these equal lows here. And filling in a little bit more of this wick, I'm leaning towards that happening before we see upside. Just from where we're at right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we see one more kind of dip lower and then a move up towards the mid-range. So I don't really have a trade set up right now. I do think you could long here if you want. Where is your idea wrong, right? It's got to be below these lows or this wick. But now you have untouched, 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 and untouched here. So this just seems like a little bit too big of a draw for how close we are in price. And you can see we're bleeding down there right now for this to not get wicked. So I don't really know if we're going to run those lows yet, but it seems pretty likely that we will. And I wouldn't want to be longing until, personally, I wouldn't want to be longing until we reclaim the yearly open and the range low. I would much rather long after we either sweep these lows, take a deeper dive in here, and then get back above or play some sort of breaker play within the sweep itself, or just wait, right? If you look here, when we had this move here, for example, when we traded back up to the range high, what happened here, right? Went below the range low, back above, broke in, and now we're moving, right? go to the H4 here. We traded below the range low, strong close back within, we moved up. Strong close back within, we moved up. So I want to see, we had that wick there, but it's selling off immediately. I want to see some sort of reclaim of the range low before I'm interested in longing. Because right now, with how close all of these lows are here, to me, that seems like the most obvious draw in price. We can go up and then run those lows. That could happen, but this just seems very close right now. This is clearly in a downtrend from this move here, right? We're making lower lows and lower highs, putting in bearish H1 SFPs and selling off, making new lows. We've rejected from this H1 bearish order block, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see one more stab down before potential break. So that's what I'm waiting for on the long side. We get some sort of move below the lows here, over there, and this low here, and this low here, and then a reclaim of the yearly open and the range low, then I'm interested in taking a long on that up into 49,000. If we're just gonna long now, if we're not gonna run those lows, a reclaim of this H1 order block would be the long I'm interested in. So those are kind of the two main scenarios that I'm looking for on Bitcoin. And if we do see some sort of pullback here, this is your mid-range, basically 49K. So if I go back to that previous chart, 49.79, right? Look where the OTE is, just around there. So if we do see a move up here from here, this would be an area that I'd actually be looking to short in for potential another leg down. So if we don't take out these lows now, if we get a move up to like 49.50, I'd be looking to short that back down. So those are the kind of three scenarios that I'm watching on Bitcoin right now. We're at the range lows, so I'm not really interested in shorting right here unless we get like some bearish price action down here. I think if you shorted up here, if you shorted near the mid-range, I think you're comfy. Take some profit maybe. We're at the range lows, but I think you're pretty comfy here. But this seems like the draw for price. We're super close to it. So I want to say wait and see what price does here. It's only Monday. It's the first day of the week. Let me give price a little bit more time to develop before I hop in. So again, reclaim this, long into the mid-range. Break down, run the lows, reclaim the range low, long into the mid-range. Either scenario, I'm looking to potentially short up here, which is the OTE from this move to this move. Right? If we get up here, show some weakness, look to short it back down because the trend is down. But for now, we're in a range. We're going sideways. I think there's better shit to trade than Bitcoin right now. You just got to do a little bit more work and go look and see what it is. But this is in a sideways range. We're at the range lows. As I talked about in my last video, right? Where are people most extreme with their emotions? Range highs, range lows. People are going to be overly bullish here, overly bearish here. That's generally what you're going to get. Eventually, someone is going to be right. Like if we come back up here, people are going to get bullish and we will get that breakout. Like it's not always going to be like, okay, people are bullish at the range highs, we're going to dump every time. Eventually, we will leave this range. But something to be aware of, when we're at the lows, people are generally over bearish. When we're at the highs, people are generally over bullish. We're at the lows. Definitely a lot of bears on CT today. I would be looking for reasons to get long down here if they're presented to me. I'm not just going to long because we're at the range lows. Why did I long the range lows here? Well, we had the range lows and then we had bullish price action. We had a bullish SFP. We had our breaker play on the low time frame. We had an uptrend forming. That's your reason to get long here. We haven't had that yet here. There's no evidence to me that this is ready to go up yet. If we have that bullish price action form, now we're interested in longing. I'm going to wait personally. I think we're still range bound. We're going sideways. We are at the lows, but this liquidity is very close. So I would not be surprised if we reach for this before eventually trading up to 49. I do think we trade up to 49 sooner than later. But the question is, are we going to go sub 45K first? Or are we going to go from here, right? So your kind of two options are like that. I'm going to wait and see. I don't know yet. We will find out soon. This live stream is brought to you in partnership with the Chainge Finance app. What I really like about the Chainge Finance app is it's kind of like a centralized home for DeFi. I know the words centralized and DeFi don't really go together. What I mean is it really simplifies your ability to interact with a lot of the things that DeFi has to offer. So they support 13 different chains, about 75 assets right now, and they use something called Fusion DCRM technology. It's the same technology that's used by other bridges. Specifically, the main thing that I think is really cool about the app is their chain hop function. It effectively effectively allows you to bridge between different chains and bridge your assets over to another chain to maybe take advantage of a liquidity pool or a staking opportunity without having to jump through all the hoops that you would normally have to. It's very seamless. It's super user friendly, super easy to use. I've been trying it out myself as someone who's a bit of a crypto, boomer. I was late to DeFi, and an app like this is exactly what I needed because it just makes things simple. I'll also leave a bunch of information in the description of this video. I'd suggest you check it out. It's a great way to kind of get your money working for you. I mean, one thing that I regret not doing earlier in the cycle was taking advantage of putting money into liquidity pools, staking opportunities to earn APY. Get your money working for you. If you have assets that are just sitting there, these can be productive assets if you want them to be using DeFi. And the Chainge Finance app makes it very easy to take advantage of some of these things. Highly suggest you check them out. I'll leave all the information, like I said, in the description of this video. Really want to give a shout out to the Chainge Finance team, not just for making a great application, but for supporting me in the channel. So thank you guys so much. So we're going to look at Ethereum next here. Ethereum in a downtrend, not as clean of a range as Bitcoin, right? You could argue is in a range like, this maybe, or you could use this if you want. So we're in the lower part of the range, going sideways here, kind of meandering down. But at the end of the day, this is a high, a low, a lower low, lower high, lower low. So we need to start putting in some bullish market structure here on Ethereum before we get too excited, right? We need to see price start putting in some bullish PA to get me excited about wanting to be long Ethereum. I think Ethereum has a very clear level here on the daily. Effectively this previous all-time high, right? Because what worries me about Ethereum is this kind of looks like this, where we traded above the all-time high, back below, and then we've sold off. I don't love that look here on Ethereum, that we've traded above all-time high, and now we're trading below, we tested the underside, and we're selling off. It makes me think that this is gonna go much lower, because these two charts look eerily similar in terms of the PA there. So you guys see the similarities here, right? Where we make that high, trade above it, back below, big sell-off. So to me, Ethereum, this is your super, super key level to see much higher Ethereum prices. If we're able to get above this 43.73 level, I think it's an easy long. Obviously, that's a far way away from where we are right now. It's like a $600 move, but that is a super clear level. For me on Ethereum, you also have an order block there on the daily. Above this level, I think it is like Ethereum makes another major leg higher, thousands of dollars higher, not just hundreds, thousands of dollars higher. So if you're like unsure about where Ethereum is going and you want to be bullish and you want to get long, I think if we get above 43.73, you rotate into Ethereum and you see Ethereum run the market for a period of time and go significantly higher. That's a ways away from where we are trading right now. So just from here to here, it's like a 15+% move to the upside. So we need some more kind of low time frame levels to pay attention to. I think 4,000 is another key level for Ethereum. You can see just looking in the past here, we topped right around 4,000 here, right? So we went above 4K, back below, sold off, topped out there, came up. Once we flipped 4,000, made another leg higher, support, right? Support, and now it's kind of been resistance. Once we lost it, we traded lower. So 4,000, obviously a key level in the market as well. And I think if you see Ethereum get above 4K, you are going to have a pretty comfy long towards the next area of interest, which is that 43.73 level. So that would be kind of a range play on Ethereum that I'd be looking at here. I think this is a range. If we get above here, I think you can trade this up into here. And then I think if we get above here, you can trade this into, at the very least, a new all-time high, but most likely much higher. So the question is, what do we do before then? Again, I think there's a lot of other alts that are trading a lot cleaner, giving you a lot bigger moves that you don't need to be really looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum as much right now. But those are the two kind of key high time frame levels I'm watching, above 4K and above this. On a more lower time frame, we've got a 12-hour swing failure pattern that's played out here, and we're kind of just chopping into this zone here. So you have the kind of support area here where, okay, yeah, you can be long Ethereum here, but this is like a very big zone to be accumulating longs. But if we're able to hold this kind of temporary trend, I do think that we go to 4,000. But if we lose this 3,600 level, I think Ethereum trades much lower. So what am I looking at in terms of like immediate trades on Ethereum? Nothing. I think if we're able to get above 4K, I'm interested in longing this thing towards 43. Until then, I'm not really interested in longing here. I don't really have a super clean and clear setup to trade. Yes, we're slightly in an uptrend here on the H4. You have a 12-hour swing failure pattern. You have a high, you have a higher low, you have a higher high. So technically, you could be looking for us to be putting in a higher low here, right? And that could be your move up into here. But I don't really have a clear setup that just jumps out at me. So I'm not gonna force it. You know, maybe if I go down a different time frame, you could argue that, okay, well, we're trading within this order block and that's the one that caused the high, and therefore I wanna be long targeting here. The most reasonable argument, I think, for longing Ethereum right here is this. This is a 12-hour bullish order block. So you look for either a low time frame entry in here, or you just enter now. Your stop goes at the low or at this swing low, and you target 4,000. But the risk reward there is not very good, and I feel like I'm forcing it. Right? So at a target of 4K, it's a 2R. So you could long this, but I feel like I'm forcing it. I'm flipping through time frames. I'm trying to find one that kind of looks like it wants to do, you know, what I think it's going to do. And I don't like that. I want the trade to jump out at me. I want it to seem super obvious, and I want it to be like, okay, this is like with Bitcoin here, this is a super clear trigger for me. If we run these lows and then reclaim this, that's a very clear trigger for me. Ethereum, I feel like I'm forcing it a little bit more. It just doesn't feel as clean to me. So I'm personally waiting. Above 4K, I'm interested into here. If we break below this low here, and maybe run this, I don't know, fill in some more of this wick and then reclaim it, absolutely I'm interested in getting a long. But in terms of a long right here, right now, I just don't have something that's jumping out at me. I gave you the example on the 12-hour. It is a valid trade, that 12-hour order block, because we made a new high. This is a valid order block that you can take a long from, but it's not a trade I'm interested in taking. With Bitcoin being a little bit uncertain, is it gonna run the lows or not? I would rather wait, and that's what I'm doing on Bitcoin as well. So I either wanna see a reclaim of a higher level, or I want to see a sweep of the lows and then a reclaim as a reason for me to get in. I don't want to force the trade. If you ever find yourself looking at the chart and you normally trade the daily and the H4, but now you're looking at the H4, then you're looking for the H3, then the H2, the H1, you're trying to find something that fits your bias. Like, well, it's going up. You might be forcing the trade, right? And your bias is that we're going up, and now you're going to look for reasons on some time frame that agree with your bias when the time frames that you normally use don't give you that entry, don't give you that setup. So that's what's happening to me right now. I feel like I'm forcing it on Ethereum to find a long right here. So I'm not going to force it. I'm going to wait until something shows up on the time frames I like to trade. The H12, the daily, the H4, the hourly. An example of this would be here. On the hourly, okay, we have this order block that we just rejected from. If we flip this, this could give me a low time frame long up into here with my stop here, or maybe my stop is here. And the risk reward on this trade is substantially better than just the random punt. You know, at 2R, this is 3.5R. And this has more confirmation for me because it's telling me that, okay, that's a failed breakdown. This becomes a breaker. Boom, we're going to the upside. But again, you can do whatever the fuck you want. If you want to take the long based on the 12-hour, do it. If you think we're going to Goblin Town, then by all means short it here. But I want something a little bit more clear. So these are the levels of interest I'm watching on Ethereum. The last level I'm going to give you, next couple levels I'm going to give you actually, are here and then way the fuck down here. I don't necessarily think we're coming all the way down here, but if we lose 36 and we get bearish, that's the next draw on price at 3,300 there. So if we start trading below here and do not reclaim it, right? Put in bearish market structure, I think we trade to 33. I think if we lose this, we go way lower. Same thing on Bitcoin here, right? If we fail to hold the range lows here, we can come fill in some of this wick, right? But the next level I have on Bitcoin is down to 40. This kind of consolidation right here, you got 40K, big round number right there. This top, that bottom. If we fail to reclaim here, if we trade here, right, break down, make lower highs and lower lows, I think the draw is towards 40. But nothing to worry about quite yet. Still range bound on Bitcoin, still range bound on Ethereum. I just want to see price give me a clue, right? There's no real trade set up for me on the 12-hour other than the one I just explained to you. On the hourly, I gave you a potential idea, which is a flip of this order block here. That could be your potential trade setup from like an intraday perspective. So get above there. This becomes a breaker. By all means, target maybe not all the way to 4K first, but you're definitely going to target this. You're definitely going to target this, right? Equal highs, and then close position there if it gets up there. reclaim this, target the next level, level to level. That's all we're doing. So let's wait and see on Ethereum. Get above there, then I'm interested. But overall, like high time frame, Ethereum doesn't look good, right? So as much as like we could trade up to here, this could be a massive lower high. Like until we're trading above 43.73 and we reclaim that high, this just looks like a big deviation and we're just gonna start trading down. Right? So you got to be aware of that because it kind of looks like Bitcoin did when it ran its all-time high and then sold off 40% or whatever it was, right? We did the same thing here. Deviated the all-time high and then we sold off massively. Once we got back below that all-time high, right, we sold off 30%. Back below that all-time high here, 30% would put us way down at like 3,000. So just something to be aware of, but I'm being patient for now. I'm watching Bitcoin, I'm watching Ethereum. I'm not in a trade on either of those pairs right now. So if you're in a trade, kudos to you, but nothing for Trader Mayne quite yet. Let's look at Ethereum BTC. So Ethereum BTC here actually looks okay, right? So relative to the USD pair, I think this looks much better. We broke this very long-term range to the upside and we're holding this bullish order block that I drew out a couple videos ago. So I said, I want to see us hold this because if we lose here, I think we would have traded back towards the mid-range. So what would be the most bullish scenario for Ethereum here is if this breaks out to the upside again, right? We're kind of breaking out this trend line. We've held the lows here, kind of put in a double bottom. We can get back above this range high here and then put in a higher high here. I think we're going to see Ethereum BTC go in an uptrend. What does that mean for Ethereum USD? Well, if both Ethereum USD and Bitcoin are going up, Ethereum USD is going to go up more. If they're both going down, Ethereum USD is going to go down less. So that's what that's going to mean if this goes into an uptrend. Just because this breaks out to the upside, it doesn't necessarily mean that Ethereum USD has to go up. It just means that it's stronger than Bitcoin. So the direction of these two is going to be relevant. If they're going up, Ethereum will go up more. If they're both going down, Ethereum will go down less. But I do think this looks better than the USD chart. I don't particularly know what that means overall for the market because I do think the USD chart doesn't look great from like a super high time frame perspective, but for now this is looking okay. We've broken out of that range high here. One thing to watch is we do have this SFP here, right? So if you zoom in on the lower time frame, this breaker here, right, which ended up capping price right here, that's going to be the level that we have to flip. So if we're able to flip this on FBTC, I think this goes to 0.1 and we'll see from there. Is that giant head and shoulders? Are you looking at my head and shoulders? Because they are fucking giant. I focus on how can I make the neck eventually overtake the head. Am I too big? Should I make myself smaller? I do want y'all to see how intelligent and smart I look with my glasses and how much I look like Logic. I think it's just the fact that I have the same glasses as him. You know, I like to think I'm a little bit more handsome than Logic, but maybe not. Maybe I'm too full of myself. Who knows? First of all, why is your kid's college tuition in a fucking cartoon ape? You need to get your fucking head checked. That was stupid. Whatever, right? Edgelord, try hard take. It doesn't have to be New Year. Start your goals in fucking July. Fucking wait until New Year's because you're a goddamn edgelord and you're just too fucking badass to conform. Clearly, I might have a problem with swearing. Holy shit, that's a lot of profanity. Fuck you. Get used to it. You guys know how I feel about BitBoy. Don't like him. Mayne loves dunking on BitBoy. I do love dunking on BitBoy. And I think what BitBoy does is shitty and he's a shitty person. And a lot of what he does is illegal. Please be my life coach. I don't know. How much does that pay? I will no longer be eating onions and ginger for your entertainment. I'm trying to pretend that I'm smart by wearing these glasses. But I think it's all a big scam by Big Opto. This is called TradingView. Sounds like you're not gonna make it, bro. The rotator, I'm rotating. That's 100% a meme. I don't know if I fully understand what that means. You have kind of a little meme trend line break here as well. How's that for a scenario? Well, the ones that are green and going in the direction of your trade are your winners, and the ones that are red and going in the direction towards your stop, those are your losers. Are you sure you're not talking about a double-sided lightsaber like Darth Maul? I don't even know who that is. Jedi Sith trader. I don't understand your question. Getting kicked in the dick quite a bit. Then I just fucking go crazy. I lost a lot of money because you said to buy serum. No, you lost a lot of money because you bought serum, bro. I didn't fucking tell you to do anything. You lost money because of you, bro. It's hilarious when you see guys like Mustafa here, who obviously got a very smooth brain, not a very high IQ level, probably struggles just getting through day-to-day life. He eats his cereal and then he gets a tummy ache and then he blames his mom because she fed him the cereal. It's not his fault. It's his mom's fault. She picked the wrong cereal and it gave him a tummy ache. It's Darwinism at this point. Don't be stupid and don't blame others for dumb shit that you do. That's your fault, dude. There you go, buddy.